how did you even feel about college? I don't even know. Where did you go to college?
I went to college in Lake Charles, Louisiana, a place called McNeese, M-C, capital N-E-E-S-E, McNeese State University.
Okay, so it was a state university.
Yeah.
So kind of like the local place where everyone goes.
Yeah, that's right.
And it was good?
Yeah, I mean, was it good? It was college.
Did you and Grant go there?
I learned how to chase girls. And
Is that part of the curriculum?
that was most certainly part of my curriculum. I was extremely bored in high school and college. I did not find it very fun. I've never belonged to those clubs, the sororities and the fraternities. I'm just not that guy that wants to go to a big community thing. So wasn't really excited about college and was not a good student, had no interest in making straight A's, did not really understand why anyone would work 8 hours a day to make straight A's, and they had no fun. I just did not see that they were going to achieve more by making straight A's, studying, memorizing a book. I didn't really get that. So I had two really great classes. One was Economics 101. First time I studied marketing and economics, walked into an economics room, remember the guy getting on a big chalkboard like this, big chalkboard. When supply exceeds demand, prices will go up. And no, when supply exceeds demand, prices will go down. And when demand exceeds supply, prices will go up. And I had this,
epiphany.
Dude, it was like a nuclear weapon going off in my brain. I'm like, whoa, I just have finished economics.
Yeah.
Literally do not need any more economics. And that would go on to become the key principle by which every business I've ever done was based on that one maxim. When supply exceeds demand, prices fall. And when demand exceeds supply, prices go up. If you don't have a muffler, if you don't have suppression in between supply and demand. And when there is suppression, when there is any type of opacity, any type of you can't find the data out, there is something going on that's wrong. That literally some player in the supply chain is messing with supply and demand. And that would, it is the only rule I've ever needed for any business I've ever gone into. Period. It's just so simple.
And what was the second class you said was really useful?
The second class that was really useful, typing.
Yeah?
In high school, I found typing to be very, very useful. I learned how to communicate with my fingers, and it was a ritual thing. Now, this was in high school. It's funny to me that, oh, wow, typing. I found typing to be very, very useful. What am I saying? I think it's all the classes that I found useful were those classes where I was having to do something and that I could apply it. The other stuff was very theoretical. Marketing, I just found it to be very, very painful. Like we weren't doing anything. We were just wasting a bunch of time. So, but big football school, big party school. I mean, Lake Charles, tons of refiners in Lake Charles. Now it's the LNG capital of the United States, and a big gambling hub for the tech people in Texas. But as soon as I left, I didn't even go to graduation. I had no interest in going to the whole graduation thing.
You there full 4 years?
Yeah.
And what
did
was
4
that,
years.
18 to 22, 21?
I got out in 81. So I think it's 77 to 81, something like that, 4 years. Could not wait to get out. The moment I finished, I'm just like, okay, I think 3 days later I was in Houston, traveling down to Corpus Christi to start my first career.
And what was that?
That would be, so right out of college, I tried to do I took these, when you're going, the consulting counselors send you these tests, and I took the test. You should be a salesman. Well, I've never been a salesman, never was a salesman. I don't know how that really was very helpful for me. Oh, you spend 4 years in college, then you spend 4 years in high school, and then hey, be a salesman. Like, well, maybe I could have done this right out of high school, right? And they didn't give me real direction. I mean, go and do this. I think the first deal I did, I think I went to, I called my sister up who worked for Joe Walters, a big oil and gas family, and said, Diane, would you introduce me to someone in the energy space? I'm not asking you for a job. I'm not asking you for a favor. We don't do that in my family. We don't give anybody favors. But I said, look, if you could introduce me to somebody, I just want some advice. Got to remember now, I don't have a dad. I had no alpha male around me. I have a mom. I have a brother that's completely off the chain. He's selling.
He wasn't at school with you?
No, he was, but he's selling drugs. He's in trouble. He's got a drug problem. I've got a drug problem. I'm partying my ass off. And I just knew I needed to get the hell out of Lake Charles, right? It was just too small for me. Piece of advice for anyone. I believe one of the great tricks, one of the great, life hacks? One of the great life hacks is as soon as you are 16, 17, 18 years old, leave home. Leave home. Leave your village, leave the community, leave your girlfriend, leave your mom, your sister, your brother, your dad. Anything that makes you comfy, you got to just walk away from it. And then that is the moment I started learning about Gary. I no longer had Grant to lean on, didn't have Grant to go to a party with. I moved to Texas, didn't know anybody, and I had to figure it out myself. New friends, knew everything. I really, it made me a little bit less fragile. You know, there's a great book called Anti-Fragile. I would recommend anyone read this book, okay? If you can become less fragile, how do you become less fragile? If you see how athletes do it, they do it by getting hit and extending themselves and powering through, right? Constantly creating challenges for their body to grow. But the guy that just sits there and does nothing, he's not repairing anything, his cells aren't growing, he's not being challenged. I really needed to be challenged. The more I'm challenged, the more productive I am. You guys can see it too. When you put more control on me, I need control. I need somebody to go, hey, let's do that right now. Otherwise, I will leave it till tomorrow. You saw me yesterday, and you're like, hey, we can just do that right now. Oh, okay, yeah, that's true. It's just it's a flaw in my thinking, right?
But you know the flaw.
Oh, I know it's a flaw. I tell you, hey, just push me into doing it, okay? I didn't always know that. But when I asked my sister, hey, could she introduce me? She introduced me to a guy named Dan Montgomery. I walk into Dan's office in Houston. Now, I didn't call Dan and say, could you send me an airline ticket? People call me up, hey, man, send me an airline ticket so I can do an interview with you. I'm like, yeah, I never did any of that. I went to Houston.
Yeah.
I parked my car. I found their building. I went in and I spent 20 minutes with a guy and I said, this is who I am. This is my resume. I have no idea what I'm supposed to do. I've got a marketing economics background, which I'm not even sure what that means. And he said, I'd become a gas buyer. And I had no idea what that meant. And I'm like, okay.
But he did. He helped you. He was kind of like, hey, kid.
No, he actually told me, hey, with your personality, I would go do this. That is what I would end up doing. And I said, would you be so kind as to introduce me to 3 or 4 people? I'm not asking you for a job. Introduce me to a few people, sir. I'll take it from there. And look, I'm not asking a guy for anything, right? Hey, just make a couple of meetings for me, and I'll take it from there. I'm either going to sink or swim. Met 4 companies, and J.B. Bell at United Gas Pipeline ended up hiring me. Sent me down to Corpus Christi, Texas, and I worked for a 27-year-old man. He was my boss, and we would go about filling up a 36-inch pipeline. Imagine a pipeline that's 3 feet wide in girth, and it's completely empty between Laredo, Texas, and Houston, the ship channel in Houston, Texas. That pipeline, he and I, 27 and a 21-year-old guy, was supposed to fill up 2 billion cubic feet a day. The natural gas price at the time was deep in the high 3s, and the particular nat gas we were buying was close to $8. Today, that natural gas is priced at around $2. Completely transformed an industry. I mean, I was at the right place at the right time. Within 2 years of being in that industry, the Federal Energy Regulatory Commission came out. This is why I got very involved with politics and lobbying and regulation, because the FERC came out and they changed the rules. They changed the rules on the entire energy landscape. We were going through deregulation. This is the Reagan era. We're going to deregulate all these big monopoly utility companies that have been raking in money for years and years and years. All their infrastructure has been paid for. All the pipelines have been built, all the right-of-ways, all the grids, all the power stations. Now it's time to open the market up. And that was the revolution of really the natural gas and electric markets in the United States, which led to America being the most prolific energy producer in the world. Really, this deregulation was very, very important. It would prove to be fundamental in my career and be very valuable for what's going on in crypto today, in banking, everything that's going on today in our universe of change. This has all been done before. People ask me, hey, how can you be so convicted in your belief system on what's happening around digital? And it's like, well, I've seen this happen to natural gas and power. If it can happen in natural gas and power, it absolutely can happen to anything else, okay? Because natural gas and power are like key fundamental supply chain products that determine whether or not a country is a first, second, third world country, right? He who has the most energy, no matter what the price is, wins the game, dude. He who has the densest, closest proximity of energy and the cheapest, they most certainly win the game. And America's just in this really unique position of having a lot of technology and a lot of fossil fuel energy that gives it a really unique position in the world. So it was a massively awesome learning experience. At the age of 21, I was able to just really soak it in and saw things that I'd never seen before, did not learn in college. So the message, I think, is I got really, really fortunate to go into a very large industry. Got lucky, didn't really plan it. Like I wasn't smart enough to know what I was doing, but I really lucked into a really powerful, big industry with no background. It would be the last time I would ever show anyone a resume, actually, or a this is who Gary Cardone is. Once I had that job, it allowed me to really leverage into my career.